We'll just go with that.
There it is.
Okay. So
You
after
teach, I'll record.
yeah. So after I've got a short neck bone there, we're going to add a little oval, represent the opening of the rib cage. Then we'll add kind of a flattened egg around that. A little slimmer than last week. Since she's female, she's going to have a slightly narrower rib cage.
So the flattened side is the back?
Yes, kind of the back here, and even the side here is a little bit flatter than our true oval.
Okay.
And then that center line is going to mimic what we have on the face, so that we have a skinny side and a wide side. And from there, we're going to add just a rounded sort of inverted V or a pointy arch. Then we can add a teeny tiny bit of lumbar spine. And then we'll add some ovals as a simplified pelvic bone. And one oval is going to tuck right behind the other. And we'll put a light line halfway down those ovals, because whatever is above this line, we're going to double that length below that line. So I'm going to take my pencil, point it right at the line there, pinch it with my non-dominant hand right at the top of her head there, scoot it on down until my fingers come to the line, and then press so that I have a mark to indicate how long her legs should be. So right where this line kind of comes in contact with the oval, I'm going to put a little circle to indicate that's where the leg bone is connecting to the hip bone. On the other side too, it'll be tucked behind that hip. Generally about the same length. Then we'll have our knees. The lower part of the leg will probably be about the same size as the top portion of the leg. And ideally, you'll have about this much left at the bottom for feet. If you don't, it's really easy. You just move your knee circles up a little bit, and then that will give you that extra room. For the feet right now, we'll just put triangles. She's got one pointed kind of sideways, so that'll be a longer triangle that way. And the other one's pointing more toward us, so that one will be a tall triangle going that way. Then we'll go back up and give her some arms. But the arms don't connect directly into the rib cage. They're connected to our collarbone, which the center of that is going to be right down here where the oval touches that center line. And we'll think of a bow, just like a bow and arrow, that's sideways. So it's going to have a little reverse curve at the end. If it's too difficult to draw this way, you can always turn your paper and make a bow and arrow go that way. From there, we'll put on some little circles to show where the arm bones are going to begin. She has one arm on her hip and the other is a little perch for a squirrel friend. So as I bring her arm out, her elbow is going to be about as long as her ribs, maybe a little bit shorter. No, if you swung it down, yeah, it would be about as long as her ribs. So look at that. And then from there, we'll bring her lower arm down to her hip. And we'll just stick another oval there for where her hand will go eventually. Her other one is going to go straight out this way. Should be the same length as the first one. You can even take your pencil again and measure from circle to circle, circle to circle. And then the lower arm comes down in front this way. And her hand will be relaxed, kind of downward. Put a little oval there too. We should have one entirely built simplified skeleton. And we can go in and look at the muscle groups.
Success.
Success, all right. So we're going to start at the top with that collarbone. So first, from the jaw right here where it starts by the oval, that's going to anchor right into that pit of the neck, making a V. And the other neck muscle is from this shoulder back into the V. Now if you're making like the Hulk or Superman, this will be big and bulging, but since she's a lady, you can even bring it down lower. Probably doesn't exercise her neck that much. And you can smooth it out more like that. Also from this collarbone, we'll have the shoulder muscles, making a little bit of a teardrop, or maybe a half a circle in this view. On this side too, from the collarbone to maybe about the first third of that arm, all shoulder muscle. Then from the top of that arch will be the chest muscles going right in underneath the shoulder muscles. Also from this arch will be the stomach muscles that go straight down. You can continue your center line. There's an actual line in the muscle. So we'll have one side over here, the other side over there. If you want to get real detailed with it, ladies tend to have more of a violin shape to their abs, where the bottom is a little bit fuller and then the top is a little bit narrower. Then jumping over to the arms for a moment. Wherever the point is on the shoulder will divide the biceps from the triceps, the front of the arm from the back of the arm. So on this side of the arm, I'll use orange. And on the back side, let's see if yellow shows up. Not really. Let's grab this yellow. So the back of the arm is going to have a bundle of muscle near the shoulder, and then the rest is pretty flat. So the shape of it is more like that. On this side, we have the same thing. This little point is going to show us where the front arm muscle is. On that side of the point is orange. On the back side of that point, we'll just see a tiny little sliver of that yellow. Then for the lower arm, we take into account where's the pinky side, where's the thumb side. So I'm just going to indicate a thumb real quickly here. On our thumb side, it goes straight for a while and then a larger muscle bulge right there. On the pinky side, straight again, and a leaner muscle, not as big of a curve. Same thing on the other side. This is going to be the pinky side. There's the thumb side. So on the thumb side, which is turned away from us, that's where the larger bulge will be. On the pinky side, not so much bulge. And then back to the torso. So the back muscles are going to be peeking out a little bit, and they'll fill in that section right there. And they might fill in this section right here, just little triangles. There's a whole bunch of interlocking muscles in this area, but we're not going to deal with. But we'll color in this section just to let us know. There's a whole bunch of little muscles in there going over the rib cage. And there's of course some muscle that fills in between the rib cage and the pelvis bone. So that's where it's going to fill in her waist. And then we move down to the legs.
What about her boobs?
Oh, that would be flesh. There's no muscle, but...
Oh, we need a bra to hold it up. Got it.
No, we can go ahead. There's the section here. It's going to come right off the chest muscle. So from here, we'd have flesh, and it would connect right in there. All right, then down to the legs. First, I'm going to bulk up my knee a little bit here, make it more of a square, just so that my muscles will stay in proportion. So we remember the tongs that come on either side of the knee, and they start way up on top of the hip bone, so actually right underneath her hand there. Comes around and pinches this side of the knee, the real skinny muscle. And from the bottom of the torso, there'll be a muscle that goes right in there, so it looks a little bit like a triangle. From that same starting point right underneath her hand there, we'll come down on the other side, pinch it. And then on the interior, we're going to have two long kind of raindrops. I'm going to do them in the same color here. They actually have the same name, just the inner portion and the outer portion. There's this big, long, skinny teardrop, which leaves this funky looking shape in the middle, kind of an inverted teardrop actually. There's no real muscle above the knee. It's all like connective tissue, tendons, stuff like that. So the major muscle bulges are going to be these two green areas and then the red area. And we get to do that all over again, except this leg is rotated sideways. So we actually have a profile view. There's the back of the knee, there's the front of the knee. So we're still going to have that long, skinny muscle on the interior that starts way up on the pelvic bone, comes, wraps around to the side of the knee, which is right here now. And we'll still have this triangular muscle right in here that connects to the torso. What's going to be different here is that we won't be able to see the other side of the tongs because it's actually rotated away from us, so it's out of view. We'll only see the green and the red areas. So I'll take my green again, and I know there's a big skinny raindrop right in here. And then this inverted raindrop will be sitting right here. Also, because it's in this sideways view, we're going to see a little bit more of the hamstrings. So behind this long, skinny, brown muscle, we would have the hamstrings back here and even see maybe part of the gluteus maximus back there. And then the lower part of the leg. Might help you out in drawing and just be useful knowledge that the shin bone comes down and it's actually making the ankle bump right here. So it's a big old flat bone on the bottom that makes the inner ankle, not the outer ankle, but it does make the inner bump right there that we're always drawing. And then the other supporting bone that actually starts way up here and comes down, that makes the outer ankle. Just for some knowledge. So what's useful about that is I know that this part is going to stay pretty much straight since it's very near the bone, and the muscle is going to be only near the top. On the other side as well, it's gathered mostly at the top, and then we run into all the tendons near the bottom, so there isn't as much muscle bulk. And the key thing with all of these muscle masses is the diagonals. So the ankle is going to be on a diagonal this way. The lower ankle is there, upper ankle there, so it makes a diagonal between the ankle bones. Opposite for the calf muscle. So the biggest bulge of the calf muscle should be high on the outside, low on the inside. Doesn't have to be real exaggerated in your actual drawings, but just knowing that rhythm can help out when you're drawing simplified legs, even if it's, you know, something simple like that. It just makes a little more sense than if they're inverted. The thigh muscles are also going to match this diagonal. So really we'll have most of our bulk up here, and then it'll get slimmer as it goes down. Now, this leg, inside view. So we're going to see the interior muscle. I'm going to grab my orange. And we'll have the bulk of that muscle right there. Probably won't even see the purple because we've got that shin bone that comes down. We're not going to be doing much with the feet since they are teeny tiny muscles and mostly covered up by shoes. But a good thing to know about the feet is the three parts where we have the heel in the back, the wedge in the middle where shoelaces typically go on sneakers, and then we have a flattened portion for the toes. This will help your shoes be more constructed in your drawings rather than being, you know, kind of cartoony, Mickey Mouse style clown shoes. With that knowledge, we can switch it into a front view. We can see our top wedge for the shoelaces. We'll have another portion for the toes. And sometimes you can see a little bit of the heel and back, sometimes not. That's kind of up to you. We'll back it up here. We can see all of it. And we keep in mind that these are just the muscles. This doesn't take into account fat deposits, flesh. Ladies, of course, carry more weight on their lower body. So even though her muscles are like that, by the time you put on the flesh, it might give her the more smoothed out shape that we see in a lot of cartoon characters, a lot of comic characters. Everything gets rounder, softer. All that smooths out. So now we know our muscle structure. We'll have time, I think, to go ahead and put these muscles in more action.
Yes. I'm glad you're going to do this every week, though, because I'm going to learn it.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of muscles.
Better this time than last time.
And we remember the most important part of doing a dynamic pose is the torso. Even though it seems like the stiffest part of the body, it's going to be the one to direct everything else. So if we start with our rib cage, our flattened egg, I think we'll doodle 2 or 3, and then whichever one we like the best, we'll add some details on top. And let's say this one is rotated slightly upward, so the arch is going to be a little bit higher. And we won't be able to see the top neck opening. I give a couple of lines for the connecting spine here. And let's tilt it back. So she's doing a really arched pose. So I've got my 2 hip circles, and get one over the other. But they're going to be rotated more forward. So the legs are going to be a little lower than normal in our foreshortened view. And we can even add the leg bones short into the back. You can say we're looking at her from a drone camera up in the sky. So then arms, we know are not connected to the rib cage, they're connected to the collarbone. We can't see the top, so the collarbone's going to be rather straightish in this perspective. And you can pose the arms any way you want. Go back that way, good stretch. And then for the head, I'm going to continue this curve that we've got and put her head off to the side. We're going to be seen underneath, so right away I'm going to add this little wedge to show that this is the bottom of her chin. And finish it off that way. So there's some extreme, not flexion, what's the other one? Extension, yes. And the other one, let's say she's doing a bow or a curtsy. So we might have our line of action doing something like this. She's bowing forward. We're going to attach our egg right on there. That will connect to her hip circles, or hip ovals, I should say, in the back. If we extend out this leg, we'll have to do something else with the other leg so that she can stand. Let's say she's like pointing her toe here for whatever reason. And the back leg can be her supporting leg, maybe knee bent back, ballet style. And she's going to be twisting. So the center line of my rib cage is going to be near the bottom here. So I have a skinny side right there, wide side over here. We know that's where the collarbone comes out and attaches to the arm. So this arm can be flamboyantly up in the air. This one can be humbly placed near her rib cage so that her hand will be here and her other hand will be up here. Whoops, there we go. And then her head, she can either look up or down. I'm going to go ahead and put her head up, something like that. If you want to do one more just for fun, make up your own little pose, yoga pose, you can do that. I think I'll do a more relaxed one where she's just sitting down. If you have a kneading eraser handy, you can lighten up your skeletal lines. If you don't, you can sometimes take a regular eraser and just lightly erase. It'll get a little smudgier, which isn't always great, like it did right there. But all we really need to do is lighten the drawing underneath. And since it's just practice, we don't mind a few smudges. So now you're faced with this crazy pose. What do? Start from something you remember. Doesn't really matter which muscle. If you go, oh yeah, I remember there's something connected from the hip bone and it goes around the knee. Start there. Or I remember there's something that's connected to the collarbone, makes the shoulder. Then go ahead, start there. The muscles really are like a jigsaw puzzle. Some people like doing all the edges first. Some people like to pick a portion of the puzzle and just work on that piece until it's done. So you'll find in time and with practice which way you like to do it. If you get stuck and you go, where did this muscle connect? That's what I'm here for. Or you can, of course, refer back to our earlier drawing where she's standing there. As you're filling these in, you might get a little caught up in trying to find where the muscles go exactly and how they fit together and all like that, which is great. But at the end of the day, we really just want to do a pretty drawing. So most of these muscles that we're studying are just going to give us the outer contour so that you know where to overlap, where to underlap, where to leave a straight line because it's a bone, or where to put a curved line because it's a muscle. We don't actually have to draw in all these shapes when we're doing our regular drawings. Ooh, that arm got quite long. That's all right. Just practice. Here's an example where a post-it note comes in handy. I drew that arm way too long, so I could erase the whole thing, or you can slap a post-it right over the top of it. This is especially good when you're drawing in pen, and then just try it again. And for some reason, the brain usually doesn't mind the color change. You just keep looking at the lines. Just about 4 minutes left.